A year ago this month, I had the honor of being sworn in as a Santa Ana City Councilmember. As we approach Thanksgiving, I wanted to express my gratitude for the opportunity to serve our city and my accomplishments during my first year on the City Council. Well, since my journey to the City Council was not boring, why should my first official meeting be any less exciting? So after over 6 hours of public testimony, I stood with our neighborhoods and voted to oppose a proposed high-density residential project that was just out of place with the surrounding neighborhoods. To protect our beautiful historic neighborhoods and structures throughout Santa Ana, I worked with members of our Historic Resources Commission to bring forward policy to our City Council to further protect our city's historic resources. This was in addition to the vacant property ordinance that I worked with city staff to bring to the council. This ordinance strengthened our rules when it comes to vacant and underutilized properties. This ordinance came about in response to the loss of a more than a century-old United Presbyterian Church to a fire. In keeping with my commitment to supporting our neighborhoods, I advocated for Thornton Park to be the first location of the Park Host Program. This program will introduce an around-the-clock presence of a caretaker for the park, which will improve the safety and quality of our parks. During the adoption of our city budget, I was able to secure an additional $500,000 for sidewalk repairs throughout Santa Ana. I worked with city staff to improve the condition of the Alton Bike Trail, and I voted to support the South Coast neighborhood's effort to expand their parking district boundaries. I will continue to work on reforming our city's parking rules. I also advocated for more attention and resources to reduce street racing on our city's streets. I'm pleased that our police department has not only stepped up enforcement of this dangerous activity, but they are also now partnering with neighboring police departments to address street racing throughout Orange County. Our neighborhoods have also been drastically impacted by the homeless. That is why I worked with social workers, public safety personnel, and concerned residents to assist individuals suffering from chronic homelessness. For folks that we saw each and every day at our intersections and in front of our stores in desperate need of help, we were able to connect them with the necessary resources to help get them off the streets. Our city has been impacted by the homeless more so than any other city in Orange County, and unfortunately, county officials have either refused to help Santa Ana or in some cases have taken actions that have led to our city having a disproportionately larger amount of homeless compared to other cities in Orange County. That is why I worked to convince my colleagues to sue the County of Orange. We also sued the Union Pacific Railroad for allowing homeless encampments on their railroads. I will not sit idly by and let the county or any other entity dump on our city. It is that mindset that I take with me when I represent Santa Ana on the Regional Council of the Southern California Association of Governments, better known as SCAG. I was unanimously selected by my council colleagues to represent our city on this 6-county planning organization. Santa Ana has been a leader in providing affordable housing for many years, and I will continue to advocate against regional and statewide policies that impact our city's ability to address housing in the second densest city in California and the 4th densest city in the United States. And speaking of affordable housing, I worked with an ad hoc committee to draft the update to our city's housing opportunity ordinance in order to focus our affordable housing efforts on reducing displacement and jump-starting housing construction that is built with a local, skilled, and trained workforce. Not only did the Wall Street Journal praise this effort, we are now seeing development projects pay into the Inclusionary Housing Fund for the first time in 5 years. One project alone just paid almost $1 million into that fund. That will go towards preserving affordable covenants that will keep current Santa Ana residents in their homes. While I came into this position with years of experience working with and in municipal government, I've always sought to empower our community to bring the best ideas and efforts forward to help Santa Ana. I served on an ad hoc committee that drafted numerous proposed city charter amendments that would have made many of our city's processes more transparent and accessible. Unfortunately, the majority of the current city council didn't support placing them in front of the Santa Ana voters in 2020. I'm looking forward to working with the incoming city council members to see what we can do to improve transparency and accessibility. And speaking of accessibility, when the County Registrar of Voters, or the ROV, informed the City Council that they were going to place most of the ballot drop box locations north of 1st Street, I worked with our city clerk, our Parks and Rec director, and the ROV to place more ballot drop box locations throughout the city and south of First Street. My appointments to our city's commissions are extremely qualified to serve on their respective commissions, from a municipal attorney serving as my planning commissioner to the former president of a local sports league serving as my Parks and Rec commissioner. Also, the majority of my commission appointments are women of color. From the beginning, I have strived to be accessible to our residents. That is why I've hosted in-person monthly community office hours at South Coast Global Medical Center on Bristol. Then when the pandemic hit, I moved my community office hours to Zoom, where I still host them on the first Saturday morning of each month. If there's one thing that made my first year on the City Council far more unique than any other member's first year, it was addressing the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm proud that our City Council took actions early on to protect our residents and responsibly allocate $28.6 million in federal CARES Act funds. These funds go towards providing masks and testing in some of our most impacted neighborhoods and providing funding for rental assistance and local businesses to continue to operate during these unprecedented times. I had promised not to waste any time getting to work for the residents and stakeholders of Santa Ana, and as you can see, I meant it. I'm very thankful that my wife Wendy is very supportive and she shares my love for Santa Ana as well. Now, while we know that Santa Ana, the capital of Orange County, has a history to be proud of, we have an even more promising future ahead of us, and I will continue to be accessible to you and to continue to work with you to improve our city and make sure the Golden City truly shines.